home, divine intervention is like, hey, we can't do this. We've met a small problem. We don't want to use our brains. We're calling on to God, you know? It's really got me thinking. I'm like, at what point is divine intervention? Should it come in at the beginning along the way? Or are we as a people too lazy to want to use our brains? You know, I don't even know how to say it, but when does God come in? At what point does God come in? Because I see these people, they don't really believe in God, but they're doing amazing things. They are amazing human beings. They are pushing themselves all the time. So I don't know if any of you has felt that kind of faith, but yes.
Yeah. I felt the same thing. I think now I am not able to be religious have like the same way I've been in the past. Like yeah, because I think people back home are just lazy and people don't work. They just want to rely on God for everything. And then I think it's kind of waste of time going to church like every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and then you go to church like 7 times a week. And so there's no productivity. You don't think, you don't even organize yourself. You don't organize your house, everything. You'll say, okay, God please help me, God please help me. You don't work hard, you don't start hard. And you'll say, I remember in my church they used to have this service for passing exams. So you'll go there and then you'll have like night over, like from 8 6 p.m. to next day, praying and crying, oh please God help me. Why don't you just go and start? And
Right?
Yeah.
yeah, and for them it's like, okay, you have to believe, God will help you. You have to believe. And then there's a lot of testimonies from the pastor saying, it's like, look, this sister didn't prepare for her exam, she was not qualified, but she
Right?
prayed and God helped her, and then she
Right?
got a good job. And then everyone will believe, and then everyone will follow that. Okay, if I pray, if I give like a good offer, I
Yeah.
can get a job even without qualification, because God will help me, because the qualification is nothing when God is there, because God is able, because God is blah, 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 blah. So I think I've changed my mind. I used to be like that, like, okay, God will help me. But
Mhm.
being in Japan teach me that, yeah, you have to work hard. If you want to have better life, you have to work hard to gain it. Otherwise, you are wasting your time doing things that are not really useful. That's why I prefer to make my own schedule for like praying, for meetings, all those kind of things, than like wasting my time going to different churches, traveling around, spending money, doing that and that. What's the most important thing is my relationship with God. If
Yeah.
if you have like your own values, you have like the a good relationship with God and with people, I think that's the most important thing than spending like 20 hours a week going to church. And then even though your life is not that good, it's just hypocrisy. It's like, just because I'm there, just because I belong that group. Yeah. So I felt the same what Murungu was saying.
Mm. Idrisa
Okay.
Okay.
and Fatu, have you kind of felt the same thing too?
Like for me personally, like for instance, I'm a student of science and I also religious person. I believe in my religion. So my religious perspective and my like work as a student of science is
Mm.
a bit different. For instance, I believe the efforts I do in my work as a student should be rewarding for me in this world, and what I do in my religious perspective, I believe is for reward for the hereafter. So, and as a Muslim, they said God said you have to help yourself, then He will help you. So I believe prayers sitting in my, like in my, there's a saying that they said like luck will not come to the anus of a person lying on his bed. So you have to go and so you have to go and work hard and get it. So I believe my religious perspective is for reward for me when I die, but for in this world here, I have to work hard for it. I cannot just be sitting down without doing any effort and ask God to help me. And if I look at also history of science, many of the scientists that pioneered many of the things that we enjoy today were religious people. They were either Muslims, Christians, or Jews or other religions. So they believe in their religion, but they are also working. So because God said limited, there is how to call it. We have a lot of capability. So if we utilize it, we will achieve something else. And I also believe that science and religion is different because science is a methodology and religion is an ideology. So science is not an ideology. So they go in hand. Religion, if you use religion, you can work with science, but they are a bit separate. So these people here, like you give an example of Japanese, they believe in their science and their hard work, and religion also encourage you to work hard. You cannot be a good like Muslim but sitting down and expecting to live on the efforts of other people. This is bad. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
what I can say right now. So,
Oh, that's a very interesting way to look at it. I
yes.
personally have not looked at them as separate because where I come from,
Mm,
God is in every single aspect of your life. You cannot
mm,
separate God from anything.
Yeah. I think it depends person on the person, like their faith. For me, I don't. God is in everything. For me, that's me, and I don't. There's no point wherein I call on God. Whether it's good or bad situation, I'm
Mm,
still gonna pray. I'm still gonna call on God.
mm,
The difference is some people might just call on God when things are bad, and that's their personal thing. For me, God is in everything I do,
mm,
and but the thing is that I have to work for hard for whatever I want to get in this particular life here. But
mhm,
in everything I do, God is in it. That's just my faith, and I believe in that. So yeah.
mm,
Yeah, I want to add on to what Fatu say. It's exactly the same for me. God is in everything. I don't separate the two. But
mm,
here's the thing. I have to work while I'm talking to God about it. For example,
Yep.
I'm in the I'm a scientist, right? Like
mm,
food scientist.
mm,
I have to do like many experiments like previously on my master's, my microbiology experiments,
mm,
you know. So as I worked trying to attain my results, I was always praying, Lord help me, give me the wisdom. Lord, how do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
But that
right.
doesn't mean that I don't have to read.
Yep.
I had to read, I
Mhm,
had to do my experiments. At
mm,
the same time, I was praying and asking God to give me wisdom, to help me understand, to show me what to do. So the
mhm,
mm,
problem with most Christians, I will refer to Christians because I from my
mm,
Christianity
Yeah.
is that most Christians replace spiritual okay they how do I say it? They separate spirituality and duty.
Mm-hmm.
Like in order of doing something, in order for me to like I want bread. Instead of walking to the shops, let me pray for a miracle.
Yeah.
yes,
That's what happens
That cannot happen. Yeah.
most Christians. But um prayer does not replace duty. You
mm,
Mm-hmm.
still have to do something. At the same time, you still have to pray.
Yeah.
mhm,
So for me, God is in everything. I
Yeah.
pray and I execute my duties
Mm-hmm.
thoroughly. That's
mm,
how I understand it.
yeah.
Exactly.
So quickly to add something else, for instance, as a Muslim, is also in Islam, the belief is that whenever you pray to God to help you, He will answer your prayers. For instance, if it doesn't, what your prayer is not answered in directly, God will give you a reward for begging him, you know. So as a Muslim, that's what you are being taught. Like if you, whenever you pray to God, you will be, the prayer will be answered. It either what you pray materialize as you wanted it, or you are substituted for prayer, for God for believing in, like for asking for, you know, for God's help in that situation. So, you know, prayers go in hand with whatever you are doing. Yes.
So I think I wanted to have to ask a question about challenges. I think we all have challenges with regards to practicing our religion here. And what
Yeah.
are the challenges and how do you overcome these challenges? For example, my main challenge, like I talked about, is every food here have some sort of pork, and I have to be able to avoid some food that I can never eat. For example, I've never eaten ramen, so because most ramen has some pork in it, so it's hard for me to eat that.
Exactly.
Also, with regards to halal, coming from the Gambia, you never hear about halal because every
Exactly.
food is halal. Every food is halal for us back home. So coming
Yeah.
here, it's a new thing in Japan that food is differentiated by halal and non-halal. So for me, I'm not an extremist. So I eat something that is not halal. As long as it's not pork, I still eat chicken. I still eat beef, even if it's not halal. For me, that's me. So that's how I compromise.
Wow.
So and also the fact that I cannot go to a mosque. When back home, as a woman, you don't have to go to a mosque. That is mainly a must for men. But as a woman, I don't need to go to the mosque. But however, during Eid and those celebration after Ramadan celebrations, we usually have meetings here. For example, in the school with Indonesians and other Muslim countries, and then we have a prayer and then have some feast. So that's something that has actually helped with regards to coping with going to the mosque back home. So yeah, that's some challenges and how I overcome them. How about you, Ashley, as a Christian? Are there challenges here coming?
No.
No.
Wow, you are so lucky.
I
Very
don't
lucky.
I don't
I
want
guess
to.
you are saving the Adventist, right?
Yes.
And the Adventists also, I know that they don't eat pork and they don't drink, right? Yeah. So you find eating easy for you?
Oh, okay. Well, I mentioned food like previously. Food, yeah, food is like a big challenge. But well, like Fatu, I have to read everything. Like I have to ask. Basically, food is the biggest challenge. But I just try to buy like foods which are also there back home, like meat, uh, chicken and beef and all. I think food is one of the biggest challenges. Yeah. But other than the diet, I haven't really had any challenges because I was able to find my church here.
Community.
Okay.
And the community, I was able to find my religious community here, and they are very supportive. And the transition from being in Zimbabwe and being here has been very smooth. Religion
Okay.
yeah. So I don't want to make up challenges.
Yeah,
To
I understand.
appreciate and say that my religious experience in Japan has been really good.
Okay.
Great.
I think Wilson has told us some of his challenges, but would you like to add on to those and how you've overcome them? You talked about the church not being up to your hype, and then the pastors being a bit slow, but then you talked about how you found people to commune with. Any other challenges in addition to that?
Yeah, one of the big challenges the language barrier, and the Japanese are not really open like for the religious talk. Like as a Christian, we have a duty here to spread the gospel, to talk about Jesus to others, right? So that's something that I'm used to do, which I can't do in Japan because you may offend someone, if you start talking about these things,
That
you
is
know. Someone may think that you are rising, you are like making a cult or something like that. So it's really complicated to spread the gospel. And another challenge for me, it's related to drinks. People here talking about food, but I'm complaining about drinks because um, I used to drink alcohol before, like when I was Catholic, like my whole life. I can assume that. And when during my Pentecostal experience, I was not drinking like any alcohol uh, till I came to Japan. But I tried like in the first year to avoid alcohol, but I didn't have so much options. Like if you don't drink, you have to deal with cola or like some orange juice, which is not that good. So you don't have like, any options for people who don't drink. They don't have enough soft drinks. Like
Really? Really? Is that an
uh,
excuse?
you
Is
know.
that an excuse?
yeah, that was like the first challenge, like going out, like especially eating out, because at home you can buy your own juice and so on and so forth. So I started drinking, and then yeah, but now I figured it out. I again stopped. Yeah, but yeah, those are like my big challenges living in Japan. And
Idris,
okay, as okay, I wanna add one.
mm,
Other thing is our church's beliefs or cultural belief. People from my church, for example, criticized my wife for wearing trousers because in our traditions, the men cannot wear. They must like have like skirts like every day.
was that here in
So
Japan or back home?
back home, but
Okay.
here is completely uh, impossible, like riding a bike with skirts, all those kind of things. I think you understand the environment here. Even the weather uh, doesn't have so much, like you can't survive
Wearing
only with
only
clothes. Yeah,
with not.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's it. So those are like my big and it's very difficult to explain people back home that, oh yeah, we can't live like that because here like the life is different, like the lifestyle is different, people are different. It's really complicated. Yeah.
So Idrissa, how about you? We already know about the halal aspect and praying 5 times a day. What are
Yeah.
some of the other challenges and how have you overcome them? How have you tried to overcome them?
Yeah, like basically, for instance, again for the prayer, as a Muslim, I want to pray my 5 times a day. So, because if I didn't pray, if a prayer time pass and I didn't pray, I feel very uncomfortable. I
Mm,
feel very uncomfortable. Yes, like I don't feel like I feel that something is missing in me. So and even if I go to school, in like for instance, in my school, there is no prayer room. There
mm,
used to be a prayer room. When I initially when I arrived here, my first month I did not pray like the Friday prayer, the congregational prayer,
mm,
because in my city there is no mosque here.
mm,
No, the only Muslims are international students. So in my first month here, I did not pray the Friday prayers. Then until I met this Egyptian lady in my Japanese class,
mm,
he introduced me to her husband.
mm,
Then the husband saw me the way they pray Fridays in that. That was a room they called meditation room. We used to
mm,
pray there. So was it last year? The professor responsible in that area stopped us from praying there. He said now that place is not for prayer. So, but I used to go there pray when my like in my 5 daily prayers. If I'm at the school, I used to
mm.
go to the building and pray. Then he stopped me. He said that no, no, no more people because you not pray there. So finding a prayer space is really, really difficult.
Yes.
Then after that again, when I came, I did not care much about halal food because, as Fatu said, in Gambia, you presume every food is halal. So until I knew that this food, like the chicken, was not halal and all that, then someone told me about this online halal market. Then
Online.
I used to order halal and eat. Then I started becoming very halal conscious. Though sometimes I eat food that is like chicken or meat that is not halal, but that is very rare. Most of the time, when I go out with people and they serve chicken, I said no, I'm not eating that. I only eat most of the time the seafoods, But even the seafood, sometimes if it is fried, it is usually fried with the pork or chicken, like or non-halal foods in the same pot, which make it very uncomfortable. So that is really, really difficult. The prayer space,
Be very careful with what you eat.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is the
Okay.
most difficult aspect of being a Muslim in Japan.
Okay.
In Gambia, it's very easy. You can find mosques everywhere you go and pray with people. But here, that is the difficult part
Yeah.
of being it, and also the busy life. There are times that the day is very short, so the prayer times are very close to each other. So if you are doing one activity, then prayer comes. So it's difficult to leave that and go and pray. In Gambia, it's normal. You can pray anywhere. You can go to someone's office and start praying there. But in Japan, you cannot do it. It's because I know Japanese, they never talk. They don't discriminate people. But sometimes I think they look at religious people as sometimes people with some mental issues. That's how they believe. People.
Well, I personally, I will not say that I have had very many challenges because my religion, there are no restrictions apart from alcohol, no drinking alcohol. But I personally, way back, my family members, that my parents and siblings, made a cautious choice not to drink alcohol. So that's not something that has been disturbing me. Food, we eat everything, and I'm a foodie, as some of you might know. I eat everything and try out everything. For me, my biggest challenge, to be honest, as much as there's no community for me, but I'm an open-minded person, and I've tried to just learn as much as I can from all my friends. I have friends from all religions, all walks of life and everything. So it's just been learning so that I improve myself, even with the whole spiritual challenge I've been going through. It's also just been a journey. It's not really a challenge per se, but it's introspective, trying to look at my life in relation to all the people I have met and how I can be a better person, how I can be a better, how I can improve my faith and belief in God.
Yeah. I mean, you're right about that. Also about being open-minded as well. It's up to you what you feel is good and what you feel is bad. I guess. I think to wrap up as a last minute as a last words. How what can you tell people back home about your religious situation in Japan? What are your advices, your last minute words with regards to being in Japan and being a practicing Muslim or Christian? Ashley?
Yeah, Ashley.
Yeah. What are your people back home?
Or for someone who might be coming to Japan,
Yeah, exactly.
to study or to work,
My advice is that it's good to have like a strong basis for a religion, because once you go to an environment where it's easy to let go of your faith and your religion, you can easily get carried away and find that probably you're now too busy to pray, or you're now too busy to uphold your religious values.
Or you're too scared to uphold some of them.
Yeah, or too scared because of the fear of being judged or seen in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's always good to have a firm and firm basis for your religion, that wherever you go, you just keep on practicing whatever it is that you believe in.
Yeah.
Because our faith and our religious practices, to a greater extent, protect us from like external unknown influences.
Yeah.
So that's my advice.
Wilson?
Yeah, my advice is you have to be aware that not everyone belongs to your church,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be open-minded and make sure that you don't change your values, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, and you don't need a physical church to be a Christian or
Yeah.
Christians. Yeah, so you can be your own church.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, don't come with a lot of expectation to Japan because you may get frustrated.
That
Yeah.
is true. That is very true.
Idrisa, what about you?
Well, I would advise just be yourself if coming to Japan, and also be prepared for the situation here. Like if you are coming from countries like Gambia or another Muslim country, you have to know that here is a different country. They don't have those mosques, and the timing also is different. So you have to be prepared, and even the food, and you have to be compromised. And also, don't use your religion to disturb other people. As a Muslim, you should not be doing that, to put it on other people. You
Yeah.
have to put people's feelings into consideration and all that. And if you are buying anything, any food item, packaged food item, make you can give the people to read for you whether there is any contents of pork or alcohol if you don't want to eat those things, or else you know just try and become a good Muslim and don't strain other people.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of culture shock.
Yeah.
But if you stick to your values, good values, you will be
Mm-hmm.
able to live here until you finish your time and go without disturbing the citizens and neighbors and everyone you met. Mm.
Yeah. I agree. For me as a Muslim coming here, what I appreciate is being very strong in my faith,
Mhm.
and also with regards to my values and the practices and teachings of my religion.
Mhm.
So I still, like I mentioned, I still pray 5 times a day. I fast. I still refrain from drinking alcohol and eating pork and a lot of other things. And religion is basically shaping the way you live. So you have to also with having a strong faith, there are a lot of temptations in Japan that will make you want to do some things that your religion doesn't uphold. So it's up to you to say, okay, this is what is good and this is what is bad, and this is something I cannot go with, and this is something that I might compromise and do. So it's up to you. If you want to be good in Japan, you will be good and you'll still be a good Muslim. If you want to be bad, also there are a lot of things and so many temptations that will help you to be bad if you want. So it's up to you how you want to be. You can be a good Muslim and practice as you were practicing back home.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's just what I'm saying. And also being open-minded. I believe some people are too open-minded sometimes. I don't judge anyone with how people are with their life. For me, I'm who I am, and I have seen a lot of Muslims come in here and they drink alcohol, they eat alcohol. It's up to them. It's each with their own how they view good and bad. For me, as a Muslim with my faith, there are some things I don't do, and there's some things I avoid. And yeah, that's it. That's
Uh,
Mhm.
that.
um, just to add on to that, for like as Ashley talked about worshiping at the temples and stuff, when you come to Japan, I think it's important for you to question as much as you can, like ask questions. You're like, so what is at that temple? What is in this food?
Mhm.
Is this alcohol? Be like question so that you don't make a mistake and start beating yourself up for it. They are willing to tell you. So question if you feel like some of these things are not in line with your religious beliefs, ask and you'll be told. When it comes to lab life, you need to be yourself, as everyone has said, because these people drinking alcohol, having nomikais, and all these things is part of lab life. So if you don't come out strongly from the beginning and you start pretending something you're not, it's hard to come back from the lie, or it's hard to come back from where you started. So
Yeah.
when you come, if you're not drinking alcohol, tell them up straight. From the
Yeah.
from the first time we had a nomikai, I told them I don't drink alcohol. these days they order for me orange juice. Like I don't even have to ask. They order for it automatically. Okay. And also it's tough, life is very speedy in this country, but you need to find a balance. You need it all falls on you. You need to find that balance. You need to find that time. As I already told you, my experience, I've been shaken, and I don't view it as a bad thing because it's life, it's growth. You fall, you rise, you fall again. Sometimes you fall and you don't come back. So yeah, probably when you come to Japan, you will be really shaken in very many ways you never thought you would. But maybe take that as a learning experience. How do you move forward with all this? Yeah, and come and enjoy. Come and relax. So, guys, would like to thank you for joining us today and sharing your experiences.
Thank
It's
you.
been really lovely and it's nice to catch up with some of you.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for having Muringi. Thank you, Fatu. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Federico. Is it Federico, right?
Wilson.
Well,
What?
Wilson.
Wilson. No, Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and
thank you very much.
yeah, to the listeners too. We thank you for listening to this program. And if I said anything here, I'm very sorry. Like anything that doesn't go well with anyone, I'm very sorry about it. So the mistake are mine. So I'm not perfect. So thank you so much.
So, guys, catch you next time on our
Thank you.
episode
Thank
of
you,
Papa
everyone.
Play.
All right.
Stay well, stay safe, be
Mm.
good.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.